Hi, this is Suzanne Wachtel. Welcome to my podcast. And today I want to talk about toxic people. Oh my God. I would say the biggest complaint I have from all my wonderful patients and friends is not that their lives are a problem. It's that the toxic people in their lives are the problem. And what we work on and talk about is how to maneuver, how to handle toxic people. My first suggestion is always to get the book called Toxic People, either audio or in the bookstore or library, because it identifies all the different types of toxic people there are. Everyone now, the new buzzword is narcissist. Everybody's a narcissist, Yes, well, narcissists are very difficult people, and they're very selfish and self-centered and charming, yet they can be very, destructive and manipulating and, very difficult to handle. So I would say let's talk about what we can do as healthy individuals that are working on ourselves to handle, to learn the tools that when there are toxic people in our lives, whether it's a family member, a child, a spouse, a mother-in-law, a father-in-law, a boss, a neighbor, a friend, just whoever you come across. There are many, many people that just feel like nails down a chalkboard. And sometimes your reaction to it can really diffuse the situation. It's an incredible power. I consider it a superpower to be able to evaluate and assess the energy of a toxic person. It's only when you're blindsided that it can be an issue. Like if somebody comes into your environment, maybe it's a store or a driver that is very toxic, yelling at you inappropriately and catches you off guard, then it is difficult at times to prepare your response. But that isn't always the case. Most likely, you know when you're going to be in Darth Vader energy, toxic energy, challenging energy, difficult, triggering energy. And when that's about to happen, you need to prepare yourself. You need to take a deep breath in and a real sigh out. A few of those will just kind of prepare your nervous system. Then I always recommend putting yourself once again into that transparent bubble covered in a layer of Teflon so that you already have kind of removed yourself visually, emotionally from the energy field. Okay. The next thing is, let's say you're interacting. Let's say it's a Thanksgiving weekend and you're visiting family and there's cousins and people you never normally spend time with. And there are a few toxic ones. Well, I would say managing your time is key. Knowing to not spend long amounts of time with certain people. Like planning in advance that you're going to be there for an hour, but then you're going to take a walk for 20 minutes and then resume. Like you need to take breaks from toxic energy. Let's say you're living with someone who has triggering toxic energy. What do you do then? Well, I have a woman that came to me recently that has a family member that flies off the handle. Ultra sensitive, very reactive. He gets very upset at the littlest thing. And she becomes triggered and frustrated. And rather than breathing and taking a time out and removing herself, she will often react and that becomes an explosion. So the trick is that when the person who's toxic reacts, is triggered, is set off by some event, whether it's being tardy or on time or something didn't go their way, you have a choice. You can react to their reaction, which I don't advise, or you can notice, this is not a good feeling. Go into the bathroom, powder room, lock the door, take a breath, run the water, and take a towel and squeeze it. Squeeze it like you're strangling the life out of it. It's a towel. It can't hurt anybody. Squeeze it a few times. If you don't have a towel handy, press your hands together very forcefully, one hand against the other, like in a prayer position. Really, really push until you start to tremble. Do that 3 or 4 times. Take some breaths, look into the mirror, and tell yourself, I got this. And then you can go out. If you feel triggered again, maybe take a walk outside to check the mail or go in the backyard and notice the flowers. Just remove yourself. Removing yourself is great. What happens when you're in the car and the person driving is acting out, screaming, yelling, carrying on, and you are getting anxious yourself and being triggered? Well, once again, you take your pointer finger and your thumb and you press them together. No one sees what you're doing. You take a few breaths. You have a choice to either close your eyes or look out the side view window. Otherwise, you may react and respond, and that will make it worse. Cars are tough because you're trapped. That is true. But those are some techniques: closing your eyes, looking out the side window, taking some breaths, pressing your fingers together. That literally stimulates you to just calm down. So staying calm, not reacting, removing yourself, taking breaths, going into the bathroom. You can always excuse yourself to go into a bathroom anywhere, even at a restaurant. Take some breaths, talk to yourself in the mirror, and just stay in control. That is the key to winning in a situation you can't control the other person. The only thing you can control in life is your reaction to the situation, your reaction to the energy, your reaction to the trigger and the stress. And once you stay calm, typically everything will calm down. If you get inspired and reactive, it will accelerate and exaggerate everything that is going on and be far worse. So my advice today is to listen to and read about the different types of toxic people, and I'm sure you will have a hoot figuring out who is who. Who's your mother, who's your father, who's your kid, who's your spouse, who's your neighbor, who's your friend, who's your associate. It is pretty interesting to see the different types of toxic personalities. And then when you notice that you're in that environment and in that energy, you must review your toolkit. And that is your breath, which you always have, removing yourself, which isn't always possible. But when you close your eyes and you focus on your third eye, which is the space between your eyebrows, and you take some breaths, no one knows what you're doing, and literally you are removing yourself as well. So my friends, good luck. This is a very challenging world we're living in today, and it's filled with toxic people. And everywhere you look, on TV, in your house, in your neighborhood, in your supermarket, it's loaded. And you can practice your new tools every day, I'm sure. Anyway, have a wonderful time and good luck to you. Bye.